Hi, everybody. Welcome to my channel. My name is Carrie. I am a fantasy author and domestic hot mess. And it is getting to be my favorite time of year. In many parts of the country, Ren Faire season is kicking off. And while it doesn't happen in my state until summer and fall, I wanted to do an updated version of my video from last year and give you some tips that I have learned. I will be attending a festival for the fifth year in a row, and this is going to be my first one from out of state. So I know that next year I will have even more to share. But this past year, I brought my little for the first time, my little Fae princess, and I wanted to share what I've learned from that experience. Some of this will be a repeat from my video from last year, be rearranging the order of things, but anyway, let's get into the list. So, my first tip is look at the festival's websites and for policies and check out their social media groups. You could check the schedule of events on their website. The Ohio Renaissance Festival, where I've gone for the past couple of years, has an app. So maybe see if one of the bigger fairs has an app of some kind and check their policies. See what they say about outside food and drink and whether or not there is a cost for parking. And then on social media, you can see what people are saying about the best weekends to go and what sort of things that they like to do at the assorted festivals, and kind of what to expect over the course of whatever weekend you decide to go. Most places, I'm pretty sure all of the big festivals, have themed weekends. So, like, there's maybe a Celtic weekend and a fantasy weekend and a pirates weekend. We went for time travel weekend last year. It was a lot of fun. And then some people can customize their garb according to the weekend, and there's different themed events. And like 2 years ago, we went for Celtic weekend, and there was a group that had Irish wolfhounds, and that was a lot of fun. Tip number 2, be nice to the workers. This should go without saying, but some people need reminders or somehow think this is controversial for some reason, but just don't be an asshole. The people who work at the fairs, if they're vendors, artists, cast members, other performers, they work so hard to make the guest experience the best possible. And so it is our job to return that by not being a dick and being nice. Number 3, figure out where you're going to stay and how long you're going to be gone. I am constantly on Google Maps looking at hotel locations in comparison to where the grounds are, looking at like surrounding the surrounding area to get an idea of like other restaurants for when we're not at the fair or rain out day options because we had that this past year. And this also helps you figure out how long you're going to be in the car, how much you'll need to spend on gas, how much you'll need for the hotel, because how many nights you're going to stay. And you can make any at home arrangements. So, for example, if you are doing an adults trip like we're planning this year, if Joe decides to go with me, Peanut will have to go to her grandparents and they'll have to take her to school for a couple days. So we'll have to tell them the protocol for school pickup and drop off for a couple of days. And we also try to arrive the day before the fair days so we can settle in and unwind a little bit after being in the car for however many hours. When Peanut and I went to Oren last year, we were probably in the car for a total of like 5 hours because I picked her up from school and then we drove an hour to my best friend's house, picked them up, and then drove 3.5 hours to the hotel. And I think it took actually a little bit longer because a lot of the time we were driving through a thunderstorm. So, yeah. And then since we're going a little bit farther this year, probably going to stay at the hotel another night instead of driving home right after the final fair day of that weekend so that we're not driving through the night back to Ohio and are exhausted even more so. Number 4, prepare for the weather. Rain, snow, heat, hurricanes. Know the weather in the area that you are planning to attend and have a plan. One of our days got rained out. So, again, check the policies of the fair you're going to about if they honor tickets in the event of a weather disaster. We were lucky that Ohio Renaissance Fair did. Also, check your hotel policy. Make sure they have a refund policy, or you're going to be out a few $100. Plan your garb accordingly. If there's a chance of rain, bring umbrellas, or we brought plastic ponchos that I ended up getting a lot of use out of because it ended up raining towards the end of our day that we were able to go last year. If you are sun or heat sensitive, look for a parasol to keep you shaded. I love mine. I've had it for 2 years and I bought it at a shop at Oren, and I just feel so fancy whenever I pull it out, and it looks really good with all of my garb. I also have a collection of folding fans. This is from my wedding. And so this can help with the heat. Just sitting down and you just you can find these anywhere. I forget exactly where I found this one, but like I said, this was for my wedding. But you can find them anywhere. There are probably vendors who sell them at the festival. You can get them at Singin' Dollar Tree even, and then you can just have a collection. You can customize according to whatever your garb color theme is, and yeah. Number 5, hydrate. Don't dehydrate. Check your, again, it goes back to checking the policies on the website about outside food and drink. If it's not allowed, have a cooler stocked in your car that you can return to for a break. If you can't bring in outside water, get electrolyte packets to stick in your bag to add to water bottles in the park. I've gotten Liquid IV and Pedialyte. Both are really good, but they're also a little bit on the expensive side. So maybe try to find a generic equivalent just to help you replenish what you lose when you sweat. And you will sweat even if it's cool out, if you're walking around and you're in all of your garb, if you're in garb, or even if you're just in a regular clothes and a coat, depending on what time of year you go. Ohio Renaissance Fair, and I'm going to keep referencing that festival because I've gone to it 3 times. They have a designated driver wristband that you can get at the special events tent, and then you can get free water instead of paying $4 a bottle. And then once you have your water, this is a tip that I learned last year that I mentioned. Don't gulp it down, especially if it's super cold. The human body does not like extremes. So if you are over hot and you chug ice cold water, it's going to make you sick. So sit, watch a show, take your time, and sip your water until you are ready to continue walking. Tip number 6, don't forget to eat. You're walking around, you're playing games, you're shopping, maybe dancing at the pub a little bit. Your body needs fuel. And this can be a good chance to maybe try some new foods and see what's available at your chosen fare. The websites usually list the food vendors and what type of foods that they have. And there's usually a good variety. They do a pretty diverse selection. Number 7, cash is king. While there are vendors that accept credit cards, the service for card readers can be spotty, and the fees can add up for a small business. And also, a lot of food vendors will only accept cash. So figure out how much you want to spend and bring that plus probably 50% more at least. So then you can also tip vendors, the food vendors, and performers, because as they said in the Queen's Choir at Ohio Renaissance Festival, all tippers go to heaven. Number 8, collect business cards to support the artists after you leave. Some have websites and Etsy shops, and then you can be a return customer in the off season and help out a small business. We are a fan of small businesses around here. Number 9, scope out quiet-ish places. This is key when you're bringing littles along. I learned this last year. Festivals are loud and rowdy. There's music and people cheering the stunt performers and the gaming. The Cincinnati Barbarians get real loud and crazy. And sensory overload can kick in for adults and kids alike. So it is necessary to find a not as noisy place to decompress, take a breath, take a sip of water, and kind of come down from the overwhelm. I had to do that with Peanut last year. We were going to the shows and doing all the things, and when we finally sat down for lunch and we were listening to a band, she just sat there and like had her hands over her ears because she could not take any more noise. So she and I just went for a walk away from the loud music. We browsed a couple of shops and we found a quiet place to just kind of sit for a little while. And then she was good and she was able to finish the day. Tip number 10, plan what you want to see ahead of time. You won't be able to see everything as much as you want to. And even in 2 days, probably won't be able to see everything. So look at the event schedule and the different vendors and events and whatever is going on, and pick like a handful of top things. Some of the things we like to go do is the gaming area. So archery and axe throwing are a lot of fun. And there are definitely recommend, if they perform at the festival that you're going to, the Washing Well Wenches, because they're a lot of fun. They are very they are more adult humor ended. So maybe don't bring the kids to that one. But yeah, if somebody's doing a sword fighting show or some kind of like a stunt thing, or we did fairy playtime with the kids last year. So yeah. Number 11, comfort over aesthetics. As much as it would be great to have the perfect period garb or armor or the perfect fantasy character, if your legs are screaming after an hour of walking around because you have crap shoes, or if you end up in the emergency tent from heat exhaustion, kind of takes the fun out of the day. So get some good shoes for walking. It can be tennis shoes, it can be hiking boots. Save your legs. You're going to be on your feet all day. And I also have a walking stick to give some extra support. You're walking around on unpaved, either stone or dirt roads, and it's rough terrain. So your back and your legs need a little extra support to help your posture. So I use my walking stick. It also doubles as a prop because my husband drilled a hole in it and then I strung a thing of crystals through it. So it looks really cool. But that helps a lot with my chronic pain. Being mindful of the fabrics that you use, purchasing uh, cottons and linens that are natural and breathable and will help lessen overheating and won't hold in moisture when you sweat or if you get stuck in the rain. Tip number 12, you don't even have to dress up. I love dressing up. I think it's a lot of fun to put on a beautiful dress and some fun makeup and all of the accessories and pretend to be a 16th century noble lady for a couple of days. It's a lot of fun and an idealized escape from the everything in our modern world. But that's not everybody's thing. That's one of the hangups that my husband is having when I try to convince him to go this year. And it's totally fine. You could just go in your everyday clothes as long as you are comfortable. Nobody cares. And if they do, that says a lot about them. So go have fun as long as you're comfortable. You don't have to dress up if that's not your thing. But back to if you are dressing up, number 13, add on a little bit at a time. If you decide to make this a year after year thing, like we have, it is okay to start out with something very simple and then build on as you go. We call it, we compare it to leveling up a video game character or a D&D character. You start off with maybe a tunic and a skirt or pants or whatever you're comfortable with and like a pair of boots. Cool. That is your first thing. Then the next year, maybe you get some elf ears and a plastic sword. Then the next year, you get a different top or a dress or, something else. In 2021, I was fortunate to get a Holy Clothing dress. And I have slowly built up my wardrobe and accessories. This is one of my Holy Clothing dresses. This is an overdress that I really love to wear. And this year I am going to start making my own garb. How successful I'm going to be remains to be seen, but the attempt is being made. So you don't have to spend a ton of time or money on your first go, especially if you're not going to go year after year after year. It's totally fine. But if you do decide to make this a continual thing, add on a little bit at a time. It is quite all right. Number 14, prep yourself physically. For those like me who are not in the best shape. If you are able, start exercising now. Start going for short walks and build up your stamina. And then you're not at the fair looking for every bench to crash on every 2 minutes. You also might want to talk to your doctor about what other pain measures you can take. I am a chronic pain lady. I am not a physician. I am just a rando on the internet with chronic pain, and I know what works for me. So I will take a preemptive painkiller when we're loading up the car. My go-to is Aleve or naproxen, but I know not everybody can take that. Everybody has different tolerances to different medications. And so I'll take it, and usually we stay the hotel we were able to get usually is about a half an hour from the fairgrounds. So I take it as we're loading up the car. It starts to take effect, and then I can start the day in slightly less pain. I also keep like icy hot. I have these roll-ons to put on my knees, or a pain patch of some kind in case I need it while we're out and about. Um, and keep up with your meds if you have chronic pain, or just regardless, keep up with taking your meds, and then talk to your doctor about any additional measures you can take to help your trip not be agonizing. Number 15 is a list of things that I think you should keep in your bag when you go to the fair. Top one, wet wipes, sandy wipes, any kind of those things, because there are no flush toilets, usually, or they're very rare, and that's gross. So you need a little extra thing to clean yourself up a little bit. Also, kids. Kids are gross. I love my kid, but she can be gross. Accidents happen, spills happen. You know, you got to clean them up. They might decide to play in the mud all of a sudden. No, get out those sanitary wipes and clean them off. Like, you get a pack of diaper wipes at like Target, and you're good. Bring spare clothes, especially if you have kids. Bring spare clothes. Accidents happen. They want to be part of the fun all day long, and they don't want to stop and use the privy, and then they have wet pants. Or they jump in a mud puddle, and their garb gets all dirty. They spill something on them at lunch. See again, kids are gross. Have a little bag of holding for your little one. Trinket trading is very popular, at least at the two fairs that I've been to in my state. So my little one brought a little crossbody purse that a friend of my brother-in-law made for her. And so then she could hold all of her little treasures, and it lessens the chance of losing things, and then lessens the chance of having a meltdown because they lost their treasures. Mini first aid kits for bumps and bruises and scrapes. All of it. Snacks and water. Once again, eat, hydrate. If you have to keep it in the cooler in your car, that is fine. Plenty of water, and crackers are staples for trips like this, at least for me. I like to get those sandwich crackers with the cheese or the peanut butter. We used to get those all the time for like zoo trips and anything that we're walking around all day, and you just need to have something to crunch on during a break. I also made little snack boxes for the drive down there. So when you're in the car for 3-4 hours or longer, um, sometimes you just want something to numb on. And so that's what I did this past year. I made up little boxes with cheese and crackers and peanuts and I think dried fruit, and that came in really handy. Sunscreen. You're going to be out all day. Even on a cloudy day, you can get sunburnt. So bring sunscreen. Don't forget to reapply. Aloe gel. When you forget to put on sunscreen and you have a sunburn, you need to treat your skin and rehydrate your skin. Electrolyte powder. I already mentioned this, but I'm saying it again. Helps you add a little bit something else to your water so you're not losing everything when you sweat. Also, a portable phone charger. You're taking pictures, taking videos. There's a lot of people who vlog their Ren Faire trips. I have tried. I've been unsuccessful. So I just take pictures. Um, but your phone doesn't last forever. The first couple years that we went, I had a very crappy phone. So I had to have my charger with me so my phone would last the day. Tip number 16, don't forget to ask for pictures. Don't be afraid to ask for pictures. People are walking around all day long. They have some people put tremendous effort into their outfits. And it's amazing. Guests and cast members alike, the outfit, the makeup, the hair, the like people do like really ornate wigs, like it's amazing. And so if you see somebody and you think that their outfit is cool, or you like the character that they're portraying, stop them, politely ask if they can take a picture, if they would be willing to either take a picture with you or if you could just take a picture of them. And then you have that memory to look back on and maybe have like a fun in character interaction. Like, not this past year, the year before, uh, we saw the 11th Doctor, who is my favorite and my niece's favorite. And we went up to him and she said, "What in the name of sanity do you have on your head?" And of course he responded, "It's a fez. This is so cool." And so that little like fangirl moment was amazing. We also saw the wizard named Tim uh, from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That was cool. Um, so if it's a pop culture character, maybe have a quoting interaction with them, or just cast members love, like, it is their job to interact with the patrons. And one thing that was so adorable about last year, bringing Peanut and my goddaughter, uh, was how the cast interacted with them. We did the fairy playtime, and they just had an absolute blast. And then the final tip, most important, just have fun. This is a fun, fantastical escape. Like I said before, that's one of the reasons I love going to these kind of events is it's silly and it's an escape. You can disconnect from all of the stresses of everything going on in the world right now and have a little bit of silly fun. And in the end, it is so worth it. So yeah. Um anyway, that is my tips for this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be getting up the next episode of my Path to Published vlog soon. I just started recording it on Sunday and I'm going to record throughout the week. So, yeah. And click the link tree in the description below for where you can get my books. I have a Substack and I have a Ko-fi, and there's links to my books on Amazon and Books a Million and Barnes and Noble. I'm on Blue Sky, and I'm clearly in need of caffeine because I'm filming this first thing in the morning. Um, so yeah. Let me know if you're going to a Renaissance festival this year. Where are you going? Uh, what theme weekend are you going? And let's have a fun conversation in the comments. So, yeah. Thank you everybody for watching and have a good day. Bye.